Hello and welcome back. It is so good to be back together. Y'all know together is my favorite. And y'all know that I like to end each of our shows with a moment of connection that we have felt during the week that's kind of taken us by surprise. And in doing so and looking for those connections, it's kind of a nice way to hone in on looking for the good in situations instead of getting taken out by the bad. And I hope that you guys have started implementing this little by little in your own lives. That's where I wanted to start the show today. And so since we won't be finishing with connection, I want to finish today's show with some points of purpose where our community here, our listening community, where we're going to be heading starting today. So that'll be a lot of fun. You guys know the past 2 episodes have been the most important of any of my shows to me. They were just personally important to me. I pray that you guys gleaned some enriched connection from those 2 shows. I pray that you heard them because I'm going to be kind of hitting on some points today. It doesn't matter if you haven't. And welcome if you're a brand new listener. Holy smokes, thank you for being here. In doing those shows, the first one, some of you may know that I can hear our cat trying to break into our studio. I need to tell y'all a story about that in a minute. In doing the first episode, well, I'll just go ahead and tell y'all because I will forget it. I did a show about a month ago. And for the 3, 4, 5 hours of me dawdling around the house, doing laundry, doing things, our cat is nowhere to be seen. But if I press record on this camera or this soundboard, you can hear him. He is in my face, just on the mic, even now. Like, I have my door shut because I knew he would come do this. And so I have the door shut, so he's going to meow at my door. So I might even have to pause it to go get him because I can hear him. And I can't think of anything else when my daughter is needing me, my fur daughter. So anyways, I was recording a show about a month ago. And he was scraping at the board and scraping at my mics and messing up my buttons and my mixes. And I thought that I was on such a roll and in such a good state of flow. It's hard. I find it hard to record sometimes alone. I love a conversation, and I'm going to bring more of those to y'all. But sometimes just talking to y'all can get a little difficult. So if I can get in a rhythm, I just really appreciate it and thank God for it. He was out to run it. So he finally jumps off my board and I just kind of take a pause and he comes behind this chair and I pop his little bottom, but I know I've got to pop it hard enough for him to know I mean business. As soon as I pop it, I'm like, I'm canceled. I'm canceled by everyone. That's it. Goodbye, show. I loved this show. I no longer get to have this show because I've popped this little baby's bottom. So he goes on. I record the rest of my show. I've got this dread in the back of my head. And I upload it. I know that our team is going to cut it. But I'm like, what if something goes sideways and that just gets out there? I'm going to get canceled. I make up this my team would never do that. But I make up like we all do, make up this outrageous story. In the next few days, every time I think of the podcast that I've uploaded that's going to come out next, I get this just nausea over me. And I go to my little girl because I have 5 teenagers and I feel like they have a pretty good finger on the pulse of our culture. And so I don't say anything. I just show her the little clip. And she laughs and she's like, "What are you asking?" And I was like, "Am I going to get canceled?" And she says, "I don't know, Mom. Maybe canceled could be fun." And it totally shifted my perspective. I never had another moment of dread. Y'all know that the power in interacting and being vulnerable and transparent towards each other, and the words of healing that can come back, how it can just transform your moment of life, not your big things, little things. This was a little thing. But so from then on, that was probably a month ago, I have in any moment where I'm worried, I've said something stupid or done something stupid, I'm like, well, getting canceled would be fun. I'm sure it's going to be fun. I don't even remember what I was talking about before that baby started meowing at the door, and then I was telling y'all about this. I think that I was telling you guys about the past two shows. The first of the two, I recorded when Jay and I just weren't very good. We were in a dust up, and instead of normally waiting a day and recording on that next day, I stubbornly was like, no, I'm sticking to this schedule. I said I was going to record today. I'm not going to let a dust up that I cannot figure out. And I'm not letting it win one more part of my life. And so it's not getting this podcast. And we don't want to show those parts of ourselves. It's embarrassing. And someone can get a hold of the wrong sentence and put you on blast. We've all seen it happen in the culture around us in TikTok and YouTube. And someone grabs one little thing and runs with it. And so in trying to be transparent, vulnerable over an entire situation, you are at risk. Going back to Liza, maybe getting canceled will be fun. So we're like, giddy up, full throttle, because we have a purpose. So I said, I don't want to always show the polished. I don't want to always wait to be in a better mindset to show y'all a better mindset when I'm trying to talk to all of you that have these moments of sadness and frustration and weakness. And I wanted to show you mine. And then hopefully you could see what we did next. And I think that that could be a wonderful, not help or advice to y'all, because I don't ever want to be like your helper or your advisor. I want to sit right by you and just be like, girl, I know that one. I know exactly that feeling. And then for me, this is what happened next. And so take it. And then if you have any good stuff, give me that. I just want to be right. I just want to come right alongside you, right by you. So then we recorded that first episode, and then I gave Jay first right of refusal and full editing rights and wanted him to come sit in that chair and film a follow-up. And I was just so thankful. His entire attitude towards the entire project was, of course, so positive and supportive, and he was with me. There was no tug of war. There was not really anything even for me to be like, well, why'd you say it like that? Are you sure you want to do this? He never let me even wonder if he was on board or not. And he just confidently and strengthfully, is that word a word? Strengthfully? Strongly came and sat in that chair, and we filmed a follow-up. And that episode is one of my most favored, cherished episodes because Orna Gornick, who we have in that episode, she says, a relationship that can change under pressure instead of ending under pressure. And not that we would divorce under pressure, but there are little points of ending, these little endings that can lead up to the big one. And I think that's what she's talking about. And so for me to be able to see that we can get down in the ditch, down in the weeds with a wrestling match, we've always wrestled things out, whether physically because we are stubborn and hard-headed, but that we could wrestle it out and get to higher ground. And I was just so proud of that. And I filmed the entire damn thing in slow motion. And I don't even know how I did it, to the point that I'm wondering if I'm doing it right now. And do you know what is so stinking funny is when I went to walk into that day, everything had evolved into, in a few hours, we were going to sit and do that follow-up episode, Jay and I had never, ever had such a feeling of this is over. I do not want this podcast. I don't want to do this anymore. I tried. I'm out. I've never felt so complete on this mission. And then trying to spin it like we do, like, okay, well, our last podcast was 7.5 years. I've probably recorded more episodes in this 6 months than Jay and I mustered in 7 years. I'm, of course, exaggerating, but y'all know what I mean. We were so spotty, and that was my main goal for this podcast. But that day, I was done. I was like, let's make sense of these emotions instead of asking God if they were true. Maybe this is a project. It's not a show that's going to run for 1 year or 2 years or 7. Maybe this was a 6-month project and now we're good. We can just call it good. And I was going to bed and I just had the night before and I just had this overwhelming sense of dread and done. Like I need this, almost like when you realize you're wanting to break up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, but you haven't yet. And so you can't really enjoy anything. And at least for my personality, I couldn't enjoy anything until that was just done. I need to tell them, I need this to be done. Only when this is done and I've told them and I've gotten through that, will I be able to move forward. That's how I felt. I need to call the team tonight at midnight and let them know I'm done. My mentor is Rob Sharkey. I don't know if I've mentioned that on here, but he's one of my best friends. I'm about to spend some time with him and his wife in Pennsylvania for that movie that I told you guys we're going to get to do. We're going to do it together. One of his main points of advice for me, and he's strongly urged me, don't look at numbers for a year. Just don't look at them. There's no reason. As I was going to bed, I hold that true. I do not look at numbers. I'm not going to look at them for a year. Of course, there's no point. And as I'm going to bed, I'm like, well, do you know what could help this overwhelming sense of completeness or wanting to quit? Numbers. Maybe the numbers are astronomical. Maybe there are millions of you and I don't even know it. What about that information? That information would be wonderful. And I accidentally pull up the wrong numbers, and they are small. They're very embarrassingly small. And dread washes over me, and I cry myself to sleep. And that's my answer. That's all. Not that I need there to be millions of you, but the time and effort and money and equipment and thought that goes into this, there's an immature and incomplete side of me that would want there to be a grand reception. And that's not a belief that I hold true, because even if there were 10 or 12 of you that could say that just the two of us sitting here together has deeply enriched your thought life and your life, I feel like that is just the most gigantic win I've ever known. But in podcasting, those numbers, of course, would not get you anywhere. They wouldn't get sponsorship and those are not even the things that I'm after. I guess there's just parts of me that think that would feel validating. So I fall asleep somehow, go to work out the next morning thinking that's going to cure all of it, and it doesn't. It just gets worse. I try to drive home and I can't see the road because I'm just out of it. I just reached a real low point. Was climbing down into the pit. And I pull over on the side of the road so that I can make a phone call. And I call my producer. And I have weepy tears behind my eyes. They're not coming yet. And weepy tears in the nape of my neck, if y'all know that sensation. where one little movement or one little word could let that flow, let those gates of tear gates flow. And so I called him. His name is Michael, and he's brilliant, and he doubles as a very good friend of mine and a wise friend of mine. So I call him and kind of slowly give him the synopsis of what I've just told all of you. And he starts going into, well, we've done, as a team, we've done this and I really feel like this. And I can hear a little bit of a tone in his voice. And so I'm like, hey, and he's like, what? And I was like, I should have led with this. I'm calling you as a friend. And he's like, oh. And so you can hear him completely reconfigure. That's how we do. We're like friend or partner. And I'm like, I'm calling you for a friend. I'm so proud of what the team has done. I love what the team has done. I don't want to let the team down. But personally, I'm on the struggle bus. And he proceeds to use his power of words, knowledge, conversation, friendship, relationship to pluck me out of the bottom of the pit, set me on higher ground. And when he was done with me, I was positive I could run for president. He spoke life into me. He spoke power and strength. And I remember him saying, not 99% of our population are doing what you are trying to set out to do. You are in the 1%. You should be proud of the things that you are doing. You should be proud of the things that you've accomplished. And he spoke that life into me, and he spoke that truth into me. I believe in about the matter of 5 minutes, he changed my course. And not even just changed my course, reset my course, because he knew what my goals were. He knows where I'm heading because he knows my heart. And he knew that I had veered and just wanted to go off-road in the worst possible way. We're heading, for the river. And he's like, no, And he reset me, and he quickly gets on his phone, and he's like, I've not looked at numbers either. And so he starts looking at numbers, the right ones. And he's like, Jess, what have you got to be upset about? These are, first of all, you haven't been going for 6 months. You've been barely going for 5 months, and these numbers are incredible, and you have nothing to be embarrassed about. You have everything to be proud of, and you've accomplished just wonderful things in just 5 short months. And it just snapped me. It snapped me out of the trance that I was in. And I quickly realized that 7 years ago, when my sister spoke those same words into my life, when I finally agreed, she said, you have no other option. You have to do this. People are waiting on you. You have to. What are you waiting for? Why wouldn't you do this? And I can hear her words in my head all the time. For some reason, not that day. I said, okay, I'll do it. 7 years ago. I'll do it. I agree. I'm here. I'm going. I'll do it. And she said, awesome. Now let's get ready for the adversity. And she knew the moment I threw my hat in the ring that the spiritual warfare that I fully believe that is going on around us, when it gets wind of us trying to help each other or sit right next to each other in solidarity and strength in numbers, that we are the first one on their radar to get taken out. And I fully believe that there is a light and a dark going on around us at all times. And I fully believe that without my knowing, because I'm usually pretty aware of it, definitely the dark catching me in a moment of ignorance and weakness decided this is the time to strike because they got me this close. I'm not kidding. If I would have called Michael and he would have said, and he makes me laugh because he was like, I'm the wrong person to call if that's what you were calling for. But if I would have called him and he would have said, girl, you did great. You did awesome. You tried it. it didn't work, that doesn't mean that a book's not going to work or a show's not going to work. It just means that this is not the answer. Let's turn the page and try something else. You did great. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I'll let the team know you're done. If he would have said any of those things, I'm not kidding you guys, it would have been over. And I'm feeling a little embarrassed to be telling you all of this as if I'm just some grand thing that we need. In my life, I need me. And so I'm just trying to express kind of personally, I need this show. I need this show more than y'all do. I'm positive. And I know that the dark saw that we are together creating something good here and wanted to take it out. And if Michael would have said any of those things, y'all just wouldn't have heard from me in this capacity ever again. And I wouldn't have gotten to sit hours later, that probably was 10 a.m. at 5 p.m., so 7 hours later, sat here with my wonderful husband as we grabbed another gear, grabbed a few more feet down the road. And in our life with this repetitive, cyclical, we're good, and then we go into this dust up and we're good, and we go into this dust up, we have to gain ground because it has been such a struggle for us to break down these walls that we've created for ourselves and these things that are in us that we don't want to be a part of us. And we can now see that the two of us in union is what has created these tools to undo these things that have been poured into us generation after generation after generation. I believe that it was put on my heart to help me to become who I'm supposed to become, help Jay and I to become in marriage and as parents and as step-parents who we are supposed to become. And I fully believe that if you have seen me or seen us, and just like my favorite podcasts, if we have become one of your favorites and you've developed relationships with us, and any of the things that we have talked about has improved your thought life or your life, I think that that is the worst news for the dark. So I go, Michael saves the day. We come sit, we record my most favorite, my most valued show that I've ever recorded. And I go to upload the video that you're looking at and the audio that's sitting right next to me. And I have freaking recorded the show in slow motion. I'm not kidding. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I really don't. And it just makes me laugh. You tried to take me out the night before. You tried to take me out at 11 a.m. You almost got me. It got me real close. And then you're like, well, I can't shut her up, so I'm at least not letting y'all have video. And y'all, video is important. For some reason, it used to be okay to kind of show a picture of us and then have the little squiggly audio over us. People just don't want to see it. I want to see your faces. If I'm on a walk, I'm good hearing it, but I just need to see a podcaster talking. I need to see their eyes as they're saying the things that they're saying in such a much easier way to connect with someone. And so I knew how important that video was. And I was like, you won this little round. You didn't win any of the others. I will make sure that that doesn't ever happen again. But I told ChatGPT this morning, hey, I accidentally recorded in slow motion last show. Can you help me to realize how I did it, how to make sure that it doesn't happen again? And I always tell y'all the funny things that ChatGPT says to me. His name's Hamish. And he replied, oh my goodness, Jess, there is nothing worse than a deep meaning conversation set in molasses. And I thought that was just so darling. He always kind of makes me laugh. When I set out to do this show that has just become so important to me that I don't know why I tried to take a knife to it a couple weeks ago. What in the world? When I set out to do this show, my team asked me, who are you talking to? And I love reading this sentence. I read it it's a part of my workbook for each episode. And so I read this sentence. Every time I sit down to talk to y'all, it makes me feel so much closer to you because I feel like if I set out to find y'all, y'all are the ones listening. So you'll have to let me know if this is you. Who is your audience? Women that are allergic to small talk feel so ill from a surface life and surface relationships that glean power from witnessing depth in connecting relationships and conversation. The reason I think that I know that is y'all is because that is me. And if you want to see me, probably the reason beside this spiritual warfare, probably the reason I got so low and so weepy that morning is because I didn't do a good job connecting to my girlfriends or connecting to my family, my children, to Jay, and most importantly, in my faith. And if those conversations are not personal and intimate and frequent with my God, I just kind of each next step pours a little bit more from my cup and a little bit more from my cup, and I just head straight for having an empty cup. Do y'all know that in the first moment of the show, I told y'all that I was going to start out the show instead of ending it with the connection that I found this week? Did I tell y'all? I know I didn't. And we are 30 minutes into my show. Goodness gravy. So here we go now. I'm so sorry, y'all. Connection. The connection I felt this week that took me by surprise. That felt so nice to me. I had woken up and clutter gets me. And you would be surprised by that because there's so much clutter in my house. So you'd be like, why do you have so much clutter if clutter takes you out? Because I don't know what to do with it. That's why it gets me. The answer is in the question. I don't know what to do with clutter. Clutter absolutely sends me into a spiral, and then we just go round and round. There used to be this person on TikTok that would say, don't put it down, put it away. Don't put it down, put it away. And if I could fully figure that out, I don't think my house would look this way. It's not as bad as y'all think, but it's bad. And so anyways, I woke up a couple of days ago, and some days I can see it more clear than others, and there's just a lot of clutter, and it was overwhelming, and it was beating me, and it was making me feel weak. And I got overwhelmed, and my phone dings, and my baby says, she's 19, she says, Mama, do you know where my baby blanket is? And I was like, oh, this is my Super Bowl. This is why I've kept all of this stuff, is so that I can get it for you when you ask. You know where your baby book is? Yes, I'll find it. Where's your baby blanket? I'll get it. So we have a shop outside, and above our bunk room that's built into our shop, there's a bunch of storage upstairs. So Liza, my 16-year-old, and I go out there, and she sets up some questionable laddering systems to get up there on some storage racks. And she stays on the ground and kind of holds things. And I go up there, and we're in Texas. So it's like, I bet you up there, probably 110 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. We have some Canadian listeners. And this is my big wink to my baby, Sherry. And so get up there, and I'm looking through everything, and I find about 9 boxes of keepsakes. And so I just start kind of trying to get them down to her. Well, before I know it, our entire party barn is covered in keepsakes. What about the house that I woke up to that's cluttered that I really wanted to tackle that day? That went on to the absolute back burner. And for the entire day that went by in a snap, I looked through pictures and albums and clothes. Why do I have wardrobes for each of my children? What are they going to do with those clothes that are covered and spit up? I don't know. So I looked through all of that. That type of stuff, although fun for me to look through, can cause some task paralysis. If stuff, if I've got some charms with some pictures that don't really go together in the same time frame, with a few odd cards from some friends in high school and some clothes. That's it. I'm just going to stare for just, I don't know. Who knows how long it is? It might feel like moments to me, but it may be an hour. I don't know. But it absolutely freezes me. So I have to jump into, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. One bite at a time, Jess. One bite at a time. And Jay will say, babe, take a few laps around the house, like get away from it and then go back, because he knows how I can get. So we were going to go eat. Lily works at our local restaurant, and Jay wanted to go sit in her section and see her because he didn't feel like he's getting to see his step baby enough. And so he comes home and he says, will you go get ready? And I'm knee deep. I could do this for 20 more hours. And you'll know when it's like when you're like doing a garage sale, getting ready for a garage sale, or moving into a home and you're at Home Depot. It's like you go into this vortex. And he's like, you want to go get ready? And I don't want to disappoint him, and I don't want to disappoint Lily. And so I just shut it off and I go into my bathroom and I rinse off, because I'm just, sweat has dried on me probably 5 different times throughout the day. I've got 5 layers of dirt on me. I'm standing in front of my sink and my hands are shaking. I can't even get I'm just going to put a tiny bit of makeup on it. My hands are shaking. I can't get any makeup, and I can feel maybe an anxiety attack is coming. I feel like I probably can thwart it. It's not so important. I just know I'm sat in something not normal. And he's standing by the bathroom door and he's watching this, and he can see he's really good. He's 55. Good old boy farmer, watches me like a hawk, thankfully loves me more than life and I him. And he's like, what do you need? I said, I just am so overstimulated. I need to scream. I just need to scream. And he said, let's have it. Let's have it. Let's have a scream. Do you know how embarrassing it is to scream in front of someone? Because I just think it's just such and I found out that it's just such a vulnerable thing, because you don't know if something high pitch is coming out. You don't know if something cracking or low. I don't know what's coming out. I don't make a habit of just letting a full-fledged scream out. And I'm like, no, damn it. He wants a scream. He's trying to help. I know for a fact this scream could get this out of my chest and help. And I just turn my body and I look at him and I do my fists and as loud as possible, I try to blow his hair back with this scream. And I think it comes out pretty great. I know it does. It's a good one. It's not high-pitched or blood-curdling. It just is like, just strong. And I can feel my throat get dry and scratchy from it. And I finish, and he said, all right, deep breath, let's have another one. And it was in the point of him saying, let's have another one. God, I love that man. And so I just take a deep breath and let out I let out the strongest thing I can possibly muster, because I hear the first one and I'm like, I think I can improve on that one. You have this married couple for almost 9 years standing in our bathroom. What did our kids think? I don't think we had a kid that shares a wall with that bathroom. I don't think that she was home. I think she was at work, but just what in the world do our kids think of us, or our neighbors? So I don't have neighbors, but still. And I let out this scream, and I'm just like, God, I love this man, and I love this life, and I love it was a full circle moment for me, because the dust up that I'm referring to in that first of the past 2 episodes, 2 back, something that really triggered me and triggered the dust up was a sentence that he said in anger, because I was angry and he was angry. I don't blame him for this sentence. I want him to take part. I want him to take responsibility for this sentence, because I feel like if he can, and then I do my work, I think that we can get further. But one of the sentences that he said that really got me, because you're looking for those that'll just stop the other one from the madness. His was, just because you ramp up doesn't mean that I have to ramp up. And I'm sure that's for sure out of context. I don't know if that will even convey to you, but I need you to know that it was below the belt for me. And so when I took my moment, I grabbed my shoes and I just left the room. In fact, I was going to go on a drive, but on the way out the door, I met my little boy's eyes. It just kind of like brought me back down to earth. And so all I did was go sit on my church pew for a minute and process it. And then I came right back in and I told him, I hear you saying, just because you're ramped up doesn't mean I have to get ramped up. And in my heart, I wish that you could see and say and feel, my person is ramped up. Maybe there's something I could do to soothe her, or maybe there's something I could do to help her. And when I hear you skip that part, that you could possibly help because you are my person and you know what helps me, to being stubbornly and in a frustrated, just because you're that way doesn't mean I have to be. That has nothing to do with me. Just makes me feel very alone in this. And yes, it is my job to regulate my own emotions, but it's just not a great sentence to hear out loud. So for us to go through these past 2 episodes, and yes, you heard an hour of just me and an hour of Jay and I, so 2 hours total, but I'll for sure let you know that there was at least 4 times that amount spoken just between he and me. So these conversations have done what they've needed to do. Because in that moment in the bathroom when just because I got ramped up, maybe there's something I can do to help her in that ramp up. So as I watched my husband come full circle and learn that in the things that we talked about, God, it was just so nice. I was just really thankful. After I did those 2 screams, I did end up releasing a lot of emotion. I thought it was going to slip into an anxiety attack. I would have deemed it a positive one because it's one that I forcefully brought on to get all of that emotion out that had gotten pinned up. But it wasn't. It was nice and quick, and he kind of came and squeezed me, and he kind of puts me in one of those cattle chutes. Like, who is that? Chapel Grandin. Am I saying that name wrong? There was an autistic lady that created a cattle chute for herself. And when she would get that anxiety, she'd put herself in that chute and would just kind of squeeze her. And so Jay kind of creates that, openly creates that for me in those times. So I just was really, really excited about that as these 2 shows have come out, and I've realized that it's something I'm really proud of. Again, if y'all haven't heard them, I hope y'all will take 2 hours of your time over the next month or 2 to listen to them. Get on an old dirt road with your dogs, or just go on a walk and give us a chance to let you see kind of how it happened in our lives and how we walked through it. As the 2nd show came out, it was just very important to me. I had this urge of, I want people to know, I want y'all to know about this. I don't feel like I do. I feel like my team does a wonderful job. And then it's kind of up to me to market it with my socials, my online platforms, because that kind of is my niche. I love doing that stuff. And I feel like I kind of let them down because I'm kind of in a vulnerability shame storm. I'm a little embarrassed to bring it to you guys because the things I'm saying maybe can be taken the wrong way, or I'm just frankly embarrassed by the vulnerability or the transparency. And so maybe I was brave in saying it in the mic, but then a couple of weeks later, I'm like, oh God, that was said. I just don't need to hear that anymore. But I wanted to market it. I really did. I wanted to do a really great job and make my team proud marketing it, produce some videos that would reach more people. And so anyways, that next morning after it was released, my buddy Rob that I was talking about earlier in the episode said, hey, can you come on the radio today? And I said, Yes, giddy up. I am always up for his show. I have so much fun on his show. He and his wife have Shark Farmer. They have radio on Sirius. They have a podcast, Shark Farmer Podcast. You and your husband will love this podcast. And then they have Shark Farmer TV. It's a television show on RFD TV. He and his wife are who I'm going to Pennsylvania with in a couple of weeks to do that cameo in that movie. So he calls me. He said, hey, we need a guest in like an hour. Are you good? And I was like, I'm good. He said, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, just wait. Like, I cannot even tell you the timing on this. I cannot wait to tell you that we've just released 2 episodes that are just really, really important, personally important to me. And now you're asking me to go on your show and talk about it. And so we did. And it was just so lovely. But something else that I was wanting to talk about on his radio show, and we just fully didn't get to it, was the pivot with my content. Luckily, I have been deemed a friend of the show, and so hopefully he'll come help me come back on. But the moment I didn't get to it on his show, because it's in 3 segments, it's like 8 minutes of interview, 9 minutes, and then I think the last section is 13, or the middle is, I don't know how it goes. But the moment I didn't get to talk about it, I was like, thank God I have my own radio show because we will address it there. And so I couldn't wait to kind of dive a little bit deeper with each of y'all. So I'll take the next few minutes in talking about where our community is heading. And it's something that you guys have seen my content pivot towards health and wellness. It's what my degree is in kinesiology, which is the study of human movement. And then my minor is in sociology, and that is more just about humanness, human relationships, and the way we interact with each other and ourselves and society. And from a very young age, it's real funny. I remember at the age of about 18, I played basketball for my college. I was walking in the gym, and I remember it. You know those moments that you have etched in your brain? I don't know why this one stuck, but I was walking through the glass door, and I took a step into the gym, and I said, I am going to know everything there is to know about the human body and the way the human body and the mind connect with each other. I want to know everything. That's going to be my goal for my life. And so as I delve deeper into my kinesiology classes and physiology and all of my beautiful sociology and psychology classes, criminology was my favorite. It was kind of a preemptive crime podcast for me. As I was going through those classes, it became very clear to me that is, like I've told you before, what I geek out on. And so I love the human mind, body, holistic connection. And holistic meaning mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. And if you don't think that those 4 things have to act as one, skip one. Skip one of those and see what happens to the rest of your personal life. It is absolutely pertinent that every part of those 4 be loved and dawdled and cradled and held as much as possible and as balanced as possible. When one gets out of whack, whether we develop a fitness addiction or being so obsessed with a new boyfriend that the other 3 fall to the wayside. For a time, of course, that's wonderful, but realistically, we want to have that holistic balance. And that is a passion and a desire, like I told y'all, that's been instilled in my heart and mind since I was a young girl. And so I wanted to let y'all know that that's where we're heading. I found my best friend online. We can find strength in this holistic manner together online. Nothing can stop us, and that's where I'm heading next. And so y'all know where we're heading next is going to be just hitting it from all angles. I asked ChatGPT with the schedule. I just thought if he could maybe outline a schedule for me, that might help me to get a little bit more focused and just like, going back to how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? I think it's just so helpful to do things one day at a time. And so I asked him, I'm like, hey, this is where I'm headed. I told him kind of exactly what I just told all of you. And I'd like to take it in a weekly schedule. Could you help me schedule that each day and make it fun? So this is what he came up with. Monday, move and mindset. Tuesday, talk about it Tuesday. Wellness Wednesday. Throwback or thoughtful Thursday. Feel Good Friday, Simple Saturday, and Soul Sunday. And with each of those days, he was like, this is what we'll focus. Oh, on which part of the holistic idea, this is where we'll head, and gave me a wonderful little outline. And I said, I love those. I love them. However, you make them sound like me. And I'm often asking him, like, I love that. I love that sentence. I love that paragraph. Can you make it sound like I said it? And this is what he came up with. So I thought it would be fun that I'm going to tell y'all, because of course this is what we're going to do. You and me, this is what we're doing. And this is a way that we can connect on each day. And I'll give y'all different opportunities to join in. I'll tell you what he came up with, and then I'll tell you what he thinks I would have said. Move and mindset Monday. Make it make sense Monday. Talk about it Tuesday has now become, oh Lord, he thinks I'm a hick. Talkin', Talkin. Talking about it Tuesday, and I don't hate it. Wellness Wednesday is now Whole Self Wednesday. He knows I love the word whole. Throwback Thursday is now Truth Tellin'. He knows that I don't like the G on the end of a word. Truth Tellin' Thursday. Feel Good Friday is now Fun Size Friday. Simple Saturday is Slow Down Saturday. And Soul Sunday is Settle In Sunday. I kind of like Soul Sunday, so we might adopt that one as my own. But these are the things that I thought as a community we can kind of hone in our focus together to where if we make sure, because it is so hard. I mean, it is so hard to find that balance because you blink and not just a week's gone, a month's gone. I mean, especially if you have children. And it's like you wake up, some days you're getting ready for bed and you didn't get to do any of the things. Like I told y'all, I wanted to work on my house. Clutter. I didn't touch that clutter, nor have I yet touched the clutter of my home because my party barn is covered in keepsakes that I can't figure out what to do. So instead of like chipping away at what I wanted to, now I have a whole other world of stuff out there. And so it is. That's life. That's just life. Things are not going to go seamlessly or growth is not linear. There's going to be days where we don't feel like we make any progress. There's going to be days where we definitely take a few steps back. And I just think together, if we zero in on something fun like this that we can do together to try to find balance, and if my intention is balance and I have the means to kind of try to gather us in community with this balance, I think maybe that we can take some steps forward. And I think that always can be a good thing and always be a wonderful way to spend our time. And y'all know that we'll be together. And you know that together is my favorite. So I hate telling you guys goodbye, but I have an eye appointment and then a swim sesh with my 13-year-old. I just love y'all. I hope that you can feel that through the lens, see my eyes, and see that when I do say, I love you, that I mean it solely for the purpose of you feeling loved. I will see you guys in a couple weeks. Hey, send me a DM or reach out and let me know you're here. I would love to hear that. I'd love to meet you, talk to you again, and hear your experiencing as well in your part of the world. I love y'all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.